In this episode, we buy our first kayak, and a muskrat decides that our friend's boat is the perfect place to build a nest. Welcome aboard. We bought a kayak, and to demonstrate the difference between getting one versus the other one out on the water, I wanted to show the startup sequence for equilibrium. Then we'll contrast that with the kayak. There's a lot that goes into starting the engines on this. Now, part of it is, and first and foremost, run the blower for about 5 minutes before kicking it off. And there are a couple of good reasons for that. One is that fumes can build up in the engine compartment, and nobody wants a big earth-shattering kaboom, especially me. The next one is to make sure that, for the start, your battery is switched on and are using the first bank or the second bank to start your engine. Okay, so that's on. Another thing that we don't always get right, but it's important to do, and that hum you hear is the blower still going. Close the aft windows. There's a good reason for that. You don't want exhaust fumes coming into your cabin and making everything kind of stinky. So that's not a bad feature as well. And reminiscent of 1950 nuclear missile silos, insert the key. Make sure everything's in neutral. Give it a nice pump to see what's going to happen. Here we go. And that's the ignition sequence. And because taking the boat out is a bit of a production, sometimes you just want to jump in on the water and go. So bearing in mind we know nothing about kayaking, and we've never had a kayak before, and that kayaks are super pricey if you can get one. Because of COVID, everybody's bought every toy imaginable because they can't travel. But we managed to pick up a Pelican Summit 100X, which is right here. This isn't a bad angle to show you what some of the features are anyway. It's 10 feet long. Max weight is 275 pounds, so I sit maybe a little lower in the water than I'd like to. But at the bow, you've got a handle, same at the stern, to help move it. A bit of a tie down for some gear. Apparently a cup holder. Doesn't hold the cup well at all. Neoprene seat, which is pretty comfy, adjustable backrest, so I'm quite comfy. There are some footrests inside, which is pretty handy. Sort of that central cup holder is a better cup holder than the one in front, just in between your legs. And then just more areas for maybe a dry bag and some things as you toddle along. But very bare bones. A couple of things I would have liked, maybe a cleat or two, rather than strap things in around the seat to tie it to the boat, but that can be easily added. Overall, yeah, it's kind of fun, and maybe not now with the wind, but it's nice to get out there early morning and just go for a little paddle. And take it for a paddle is exactly what I did. Took it out in the morning and just went to the east of Ivy Lee, and just around Georgina Island, just south of there's some really strong currents and eddies, and that was kind of fun. Got pushed around a little bit, but then decided to stop and sip my coffee and just let the current push me in towards this bay. There's quite a current that actually pushes us when we try to dock. It pushes us towards the left down the dock as you're looking at it. And it was quite noticeable in the kayak as well, just as I was drifting and wanted to see how far it would take me and how quickly. Pretty far and pretty quickly. And trying out the Akaso camera in its waterproof housing underwater yet again, just to see what we could see. Later on in the day, Jacqueline took the kayak out for a test paddle and went out into the village of Ivy Lee. You can see it in the background there just behind her. But the wind had really picked up by that point, and it was a bit more of a struggle for her to come back to the marina than it had been for me earlier in the day. But overall, what's the verdict? It's a thumbs up. And not only a thumbs up, it's 2 thumbs up, as in we have to get another kayak so that we can both go out and explore together. The only wild card in this is, what do we do with Chloe? We tried putting her in the kayak. She lasted about 5 seconds and lost her mind and jumped right back up onto the swim platform. But maybe with a little time, we'll get her used to it. I'm not happy with the storage concept here on the bow. Not happy just with 2 bungee cords. So this will be a project next week to improve that. You don't often see a boat under sail coming into here. Very interesting. Sail. Yeah. And finally, this little guy is a muskrat. Now, it's not a beaver, even though it looks an awful lot like one. It's actually a close relative of the lemming or the vole, and they can cause an awful lot of destruction around marinas. In one case, for our friend's boat this past weekend, it went into the starboard exhaust port, deciding that's a perfect place to nest. And we would see it clamber out, go swimming, come up near the dock, grab some grasses, go back in, come back out, go back in, and we knew it was building a nest in there. We contacted the marina owner and the boat owner right away. The boat owner gave us permission to go on board and start up the engine, and the marina owner was going to get hold of some folks to come and safely trap the muskrat and release it in a safe area later on. But they can get inside and go farther in and chew through hoses and cause an awful lot of damage on your boat. This is what came out of the starboard exhaust, and that's a good morning's work for that little muskrat. There are covers, there's wire mesh, there are some other things that can go over the exhaust outlet to prevent this type of thing from happening. We're certainly going to be doing that on our boat to make sure we don't get a muskrat nest. Muskrats are an important part of the environment and the habitat, and it's important for us to ensure that when they nest, they're nesting in places that are safe for them and for their young. If you enjoyed what you saw, click that like button, hit subscribe, tell your friends, send us comments, all those lovely things, and we will see you next time on Aquilibrium.